Steven, remember when you said you wanted to throw acid on Rob Manfred's face?
I don't recall.
I do, and I kind of feel the same way. I
I
think you're in
don't
the right for that.
recall. I don't recall that statement. I forgot why I said it. I forgot the
It
context of
was
it.
during it was during the MLB labor negotiations and the lockout, and we were all talking about how terrible of a commissioner Rob Manfred is, and I agreed with you that day. But boy, do I see it now! Holy shit, that guy is lame.
Yeah, that was
So I'm
uh,
with you.
still
You and I
still
can get a
per,
big old tub of acid. We'll throw it in his face, John Fisher's face, Dave Cavill's face. I'm all for it now.
it's a little harsh, but
Is it?
whatever.
They would just be horribly disfigured.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I don't know. I don't know why I said that. I feel that's the one statement that you've hung on to that I've said
Well, it
over
was
the
just
course of this podcast.
it was
And
it was
yeah,
it was such an extreme. I was like, holy shit, Steven. But I might be there with you now.
yeah. Well, it was something I said in passing. I don't necessarily agree with what I said, but it is what it is.
No, I'm joking. No one wants to hurt those men, even though they're all scumbags.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. We've been gone for about like a week now, and a lot of stuff has happened. We'll get to it all. Denver Nuggets have won a championship. Dalvin Cook has been released. I know you really care about that, Stephen. Um, and the A's. We will get all to it today. As you can see, I'm wearing the Cell shirt. I will tell you all about my experience at the reverse boycott that went down on Tuesday. But before we get to all that, Stephen and I went to John Curley, our good friend who works at 95.7 The Game. We worked with him once upon a time, produced Steiny and Guru in the
Hmm.
morning show. And he got married this past weekend. And we had a great time in San Rafael, had great hors d'oeuvres, however
Hors
you want to
d'oeuvres.
say it, hors d'oeuvres. Um, had great drinks. Steve and I were trying to quote Wedding Crashers as much as possible, and we just had a good time. You concur, Stephen?
Yes, I concur with the hors d'oeuvres about Wedding Crashers. Yeah, see, it rhymed.
Not at all.
Yeah. So no, it was a good time. The drinks were definitely flowing toward the end of the night. The hors d'oeuvres happened a little bit. The Wedding Crashers references, I'm sure that got annoying to the people that were sitting around us at the dinner table a little bit. Uh,
I would say more so the church.
yeah, or the church itself. Uh,
I probably shouldn't have said too loud in the church. Well, got a little back tattoo. Might as well be a bullseye.
oh, there's just too many quotable parts from that movie. Do
Great
we have a
movie.
cry? Do we have a crier? I don't know if we have a crier. Couldn't really tell though. We were sitting a little far back to tell.
Underrated performance by Christopher Walken in that movie too. Jeremy, I heard you having night terrors. Sailor.
Where's Shaq? He's not he's a little sick. Oh wow. We'll say it without him.
When they're playing football.
Mhm.
Jeremy, you down for a little touch football?
Nature versus nurture, Lodge.
Crab cakes and football, baby. That's what Maryland does.
Yeah, it was
I need
nonstop
to
of
watch
that.
that movie again.
Yeah, we do too, but it seems like judging by how much we quoted it, it seems like we've seen it enough.
Yeah, but that's just I mean the thing with white dudes is we're just really good at quoting shit without even having seen it for years. Like
We will we
you can
will we
name
will
like any
quote we will quote early 2000s movies
yes.
ad nauseum. Yep.
You ask any like white dude in his 30s, he'll quote Anchorman and just all the classics of those guys, Ben Stiller, Will
Step
Ferrell.
Brothers,
Yep.
Anchorman, Talladega Nights was one of them for me. Wedding Crashers became one of them. I got a lot. Yeah, yeah. Those are the main ones for me.
I mean, I can go on. I probably haven't seen Wedding Crashers in probably 3, 4, 5 years, and I
Mm.
can still quote that movie today.
Oh, Ernie just mentioned one. Super bad. Could quote that one
Oh yeah.
all day. Watch that one like once a year just to remind myself.
God, I haven't seen that movie in a long ass time.
Oh, So good when you watch it again after a long time.
Yeah, I need to check that out again. But
Mhm.
yeah, we had a great time at John Curley's wedding. Um, and definitely there was an after party that we were supposed to go to, and I think we're all feeling it now as we're getting closer to our 30s, or I'm in my 30s, Steven's getting up there. Uh, Sometimes it's just a good time to cut things off when you're not feeling it. Like
Yeah.
go into the city, and we're like, all right, John Curley, we'll meet you there. We were not going to meet him there.
No. No, we knew halfway there that we were not going to make it to that after party. I mean, it started at 10:30. I gotta be in bed by 10:30. I gotta be in bed by 9:30 on a Saturday night.
And he texted me yesterday saying, "My man, it's so nice of you to come out to the wedding. So grateful that you, Steven Arredo, could be there. I really appreciate it." I was like, of course, man. We love you, and we're so happy for you and Hannah, and we really love the hors d'oeuvres and everything. The food was great. And boy, we had a great time at that after party. I don't know if you remember it, but boy, it was wild. You said some things, you did some things, and we'll just leave it at that. And John Curley was like, did I really? And I was like, no, dude, we never showed up. And he was like, oh, I didn't even know.
Wow. We totally called that too.
Yeah.
Because we gave him like a ooh, sorry, watching USA Mexico. Pulisic just missed a wide open goal. Um,
You're not
we
watching these
gave
Dan
him
Marino highlights on NFL Network?
no, I am not.
Hmm.
We got the we told him in the toward the end of the night as he's double fisting whatever beer. I guess it was Coors Light that night. But we told
Pulling
him
a
like, hey man,
Catavius Caldwell Pope.
yeah. Except he wasn't smashing them. But
Yeah.
we told him like, hey, probably not gonna make it. We'll try, but probably not going to. He's like, oh no, you're going. You're going. No, I'm making sure you're going.
Yeah.
You're going. Then as soon as we walked away, we said, yeah, we're not going.
No,
He's
no,
not
no,
going to
no.
remember that.
No,
He's
no.
not going to remember that we're there. So yeah, all's well that ends well. I didn't mention any of that after party at all. I should have kept that charade going though. Damn it! I wish you would have told me.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, it actually would have been fun between the three of us, you, me, and Rado, if we just made a whole story like, yeah, we were there. We showed up. You were puking your guts out. You totally
Yeah,
tried to punch us. We're like, all right, we're leaving now, John Curley.
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You took your shirt off in the middle of the bar. The bartender wanted to kick you out.
Yeah.
Mm,
Could have had a good thing going. But
mm.
yeah, Steven, you had a good time, and then you got a little sick, a little phlegmy after that. So that's why we haven't been able to do a podcast in quite a minute here.
Yeah, was under the weather. Did not want to come back doing it last night because I realized midway through the day that I probably need to save my voice. And it's a little nasally right now. So probably a good idea that we didn't do the podcast, even though I gave you a last second warning that I wouldn't be ready.
It's okay, even though I look like an idiot tweeting out that we're going to do a podcast and everything. But it's fine. We're doing it now, and I'm glad we did because we're doing it now. I'm glad because we got some new news pertaining
Hmm.
to the A's and everything. So I'll get to that. But yeah. And have you ever thought about getting your voice insured?
No.
Oh yeah, a lot of voice actors and singers do that. Just in case Joe Buck, you know the whole story with him where he had a bunch of hair transplants, and I don't know how this is the case, but his voice got fucked up from getting so many hair transplants
Really?
that there was a while there where he was like, is my broadcasting career over? Yeah, this was like around 2010, 2011, because he was balding and he got hair transplants. I don't know how that fucks up your voice, but there was a while there where he was like, I may not sound the same. And I remember a couple of preseason games, he sounded very weird. And I know Hank Azaria and a lot of voice actors insure their voice. So you should think about that, Steven, if you're trying to be a real news guy for KCBS.
Voice insurance? I didn't know voice insurance was a thing.
I also noticed your mic wasn't on for the first half of that open there.
Yeah, I just turned it on now.
All right.
Oh, wow. You could insure your voice. Wow. How about that? Might have to
Yeah.
look into that.
Ernie says, can Greg Papa get his voice insured at this point in his career? I would say he should, in case, so we don't have to hear those calls like he did during the Green Bay game. Tell him no, fucker.
Yeah, he'll need a little bit of that just in case that happens again.
All right. So Tuesday,
Mhm.
you and I talked about this in the past. about the reverse boycott. Um, and initially, I think both of our reactions were, "This doesn't make sense to me. This
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it." And everything that's gone on with the A's, I love the Coliseum and I love going to that ballpark. Went opening night, saw Shohei Otani, and I wasn't back since with everything that's gone on. And I had reservations about this whole boycott. I just didn't understand why so many fans wanted to show up and give money to John Fisher. And I was kind of conflicted on Tuesday. Do I go? How do I really feel about this? I don't like this whole thing, to be completely honest. And my host of the show that I produce for, Adam Copeland, was very critical of the reverse boycott. And we had Bruce Jenkins on that day, and he talked about how this could be very significant in Bay Area sports history, where these fans that have been so pissed off by this organization, by these owners, show up, and it may not may make sense to a lot of us, but it's a moment where we're just giving a big middle finger, a fuck you to everything they put us through, and we're showing you that we can be a great fan base if we really wanted to, but you have put us through so much crap that why would we do this on a consistent basis? So I heard that, and then I had, Elena text me, and Rick Tittle and Carl Buzchek, all people that, from the East Bay and A's fans, saying, you should come and check it out. So we got off early that day because Giants were playing in St. Louis, and I was like, you know what? I have no excuse. I live in Oakland. I'm going to go by. I'm not going to go to the game because I don't feel right about that. And I'm going to go by and support everybody that's going to be at the Coliseum and see how it's going down. And on my way over to BART, I saw a tweet from the A's organization saying that all the proceeds from tonight's game will be given to food shelters in Oakland. And my first thought was, that's nice. Then I was like, you know what? It's a nice gesture, but you're flipping it. You're stirring this up. You're spinning it. You're making it seem like this is out of the kindness of your heart, and the A's organization does not get the benefit of the doubt there. I'm sorry. This was a thing done by the fans out of the joy of their heart or the anger of their heart, and you don't get to just flip that and make it be like this is our thing now. So I went over there, went on BART, and walked around the Coliseum, met up with Elena, met up with Carl Buzchek, and I loved the atmosphere. Saw Dallas Braden, who is an A's employee, hang out with the fans and support them. A lot of Bay Area media showed up. KMBR even showed up. A lot of Giants fans showed up, and I loved it. And I'm glad I didn't go to the game because I don't feel comfortable giving money to the team right now. But I do love everything that the fans did. Everything from the silence during certain points of the game to the sell the team chants. I loved it. I loved everything about it. And it was great even that the A's won the game in thrilling fashion. They won 2-1. They continued their seven game winning streak. It was just magical. And did it make sense? No, it didn't. But just listening to everybody talk about it, it didn't have to. Like I said, it was just a big fuck you to the organization of you
Right.
screwed these people for so long, and now we're gonna tell you how we feel. And this is how it could be, but you're ruining a good thing. So I loved everybody that was involved. Casey Pratt joined us the next day and said it was a great time. I love what he's done with the whole, telling people. I mean, his tweets last week were amazing of what was going on in the meetings between the A's and Nevada. And he was out there supporting everybody. Brody Brazil did a great job at the post game. But it was kind of a mix of emotions because before the game started, despite all of the hilarious clips of people saying, Dave Cavill, you're disingenuous. Steve Pastorino, former A's executive, saying that Dave Cavill was a walking, talking bobblehead. Despite all of that, Nevada did vote in favor of giving the A's the $380 million. So that did kind of make things suck. But overall, I thought it was a fantastic night for Oakland, for the Oakland A's fans, and for the city of Oakland to support their team and to tell the owners that they have just been fucking this whole thing up.
Yeah, there was the mixed reaction was like, you're putting money into the pocket of John Fisher, but I think when the guy who created this, I forgot his name's escaping me, but
I'll get it for you. I know it.
When he created it, he I think he did it with an understanding that the A's were more than likely leaving. Like, this was organized way before the season even started. Like, all this stuff about the A's issues in Vegas, like, that's really came to a head ever since, these binding agreements have come about. This is when the June 13th date was set for that game. So really, sure, you're putting money in the pocket of John Fisher, but you're also putting money in the pocket and simultaneously being able to yell at him directly, telling him what your problems are. You're basically paying him to just tell him, like, hey, we hate you.
Yeah.
You're taking this away from us. Like, look, we can show up, and it's never been the fans' fault. And I don't think that's been like, I don't even think that's really been too much of a talking point. I haven't seen the fans be blamed too much. I've seen a little bit of the attendance or whatever, but most of it from the owner's side, from Rob Manfred, which I know we're going to play later, it's mostly been towards the city and their lack of complying with whatever the A's wanted to do. And it's, I think the thing is, though, these sports teams know that A's fans are going to show up. They know Raiders fans were going to show up. Like, they knew that. It's not like they haven't had history on their side before. Sure, they've had a couple of really down years, but before that, like, they were getting a bunch of butts in seats. And unfortunately, when like Chapman and Olsen and Simeon rolled around, like, those might have been the best players that they had this past decade. Like, even, compared to that 2014 All-Star team that had 7 All-Stars, but the fans didn't show up because they were already fed up by that point. They were already fed up by then. That's why they weren't showing up. Like, it's happened for that long. Like, I don't know. It's the whole thing. I liked it. Like, the chanting, everything that went on, I respected it. I don't know how any baseball fan can look at that and not think, well, you know what? They went out and they died trying. Like, at least the fans did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big. I mean, I don't want to be cynical or anything. I do believe in protesting, but I also, there's sometimes where you wonder, is it really going to change things? And that was the whole mindset of me before that day was, is this really going to change anything? And the reality is, it's not. But it's just, it was just kind of a good ending. I would say. I mean, there's still going to be more games played at the Coliseum for the A's, probably till 2024. But it was just kind of a good.
It was a form of closure.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I mean, it was just, everybody getting together and all the A's fans. The drums were back out there. I didn't see Banjo Man, but maybe he was out there. I just like the camaraderie of it all. It was just kind of, the little guy spitting at the big guy, and we all root for that in movies. And I think it was kind of like that moment. It was a perfect ending with the A's winning as well. So, just to give credit to the man, Stu Clary was the guy that formed the whole thing. And so the next day, I know a lot of people were, not happy with Adam Copeland in his tweet, saying that he thought this whole thing was stupid. And I talked with him the next day and kind of told him, you may think it's stupid, but A's fans don't think it's stupid. And the reality is, you as a Giants fan, no one wants to hear from you or your opinion. Either you support this thing or you stay quiet. And he understood that after that.
Going against the name of the podcast, Eric. It's not just your opinion, man. It can't be your opinion, man. You're a Giants fan, you jerk.
Well, I'll say this. If it's going to be like blatantly negative, then, I mean, I kind of agreed with Copes before that day. And as I experienced it, I realized I don't know.
The gravity.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like it was important. It was a big deal, and he understood after a while. Like he was expecting him and Casey Pratt to get into a whole thing, and Casey understood too. And I think you be kind of made out of stone to not really feel for the A's fans in the situation or agree with them or think that Dave Cavill and John Fisher have just totally just been cruel and evil people in the situation. Now, business is business. I'm not going to sit here and say like I haven't, like last week we were talking about live, and I was like, well, it's money. That's the way of the world. It is. It's sad, but when you know, it, it's just different because I mean, you and I and people from the East Bay grew up going to that Coliseum, and I'll be completely honest. When I left for LA a few years ago in 2019, that was when the Warriors were moving to San Francisco, and that was going to be the upcoming last season of the Raiders in Oakland.
Hmm.
And I just couldn't deal with all that shit. I I have always been the East Bay guy fighting for the Oakland sports. I know that's kind of the ironic thing of me working at KMBR now, but when I was at 95.7 The Game, I was a pain in the ass. I was always going to be the guy saying we got to talk more about the A's, we got to talk more about the Raiders, and I know they didn't rate well, but that's why I got into the radio business. I wanted to talk about those teams. I love the Raiders, I love the A's, I love the Warriors, and they all moved away or are going to move away. And I couldn't take it when the Warriors were moving to San Francisco. I really couldn't take it when the Raiders were moving to Vegas. And now that I'm back, this is a weird feeling living in Oakland and seeing the last team barely hang on to that Coliseum and just being
Yeah.
around there the other day. It's got me a little sad. It's like, God, this is my home and this is going to be empty
Right.
pretty soon. So it just sucked. But it was a great celebration on Tuesday, and I'm glad I went to that.
Yeah, and you see guys like Brody Brazil getting emotional with it on NBC Sports
Yep.
Bay Area, and for families that grew up that way, that grew up going to these games, grew up to going to the green and gold. Like for the Raiders, I got two of my best friends, like they were diehard Raider fans, way bigger than I was, and they're just completely done with the team. They're really done with the NFL in general, because they just like feel like they were screwed over. And they kind of, I mean, if I ever even mention anything Raiders, it's not like I'm not, there's no point really anymore,
Yeah.
because they're just so put off by it. It's just anything. It's anti Raiders now with them, because they were season ticket holders for a while, or at least their parents were. And the way that they treated the season ticket holders, they just basically gave them like a scarf and a goodbye thank you note, like nothing else. So it's kind of it's that same thing. But yeah, with the A's though, it feels like, because football is the most popular sport for sure, but baseball's I think it's the quintessential family sport, if that makes sense. It's one where you could
It's regional.
yeah, well, and it's just one you could take your kids out to the ball game. It's easy. It's one where it feels like you can go on a family outing. You can't really do that going to a football game. Like, you think if I have kids in the future, you think I want them going to a football game until they're. I mean, I don't know what the line is going to be. Probably when I went to my first game when I was like 10,
Yeah.
but like anything younger than that, shoot, you want your kids that are like 3 or 4, all of them growing up going to these types of games. So I think that's what makes it sad. And considering how just loyal the fan base has been, and how it just felt like Oakland and the A's were like synonymous with each other. It's just
Yeah.
the green and gold. The Congresswoman Barbara Lee has mentioned it in her letters to Major League Baseball, but just the cultural impact that it's had in the Bay Area. It's something that's not going to be replaced, and something that is not going to be duplicated in Vegas, because it seems like the only people that want this stadium in Vegas are 3 of them, and that's the governor, Dave Cavill, and and John Fisher, and then I guess the Nevada lawmakers. But really, they just want something that's going to at least impact their community. But man, even the Raiders, they said in the assembly meetings like that the Raiders haven't delivered on those community promises that they made when
Yeah.
they came over to Vegas back in 2020. So I don't know. There's a lot of promises that they're making right now to the city of Vegas, and promises I don't think they're going to be able to keep.
Probably not. Yeah. And I don't know. It just sucks because I don't know. I have a different perspective. I just grew up going to that ballpark. I lived basically in the summertime in that broadcast booth with my dad, talking to Ray Fosse. Like, yeah, to your point, Steven, like I didn't go to Raiders games until I was about 10 years old or 11.
Mm.
But when I was a kid, I was at A's games all the time.
Yeah.
I think those were my summers watching, John Jaha and Terrence Long and Matt Stairs and just everybody that I grew up with in my childhood. That was my team. I was more of a baseball kid when I was younger than I was a football kid. And, as time goes on and the players got traded away, you just don't feel an attachment to the team, and the philosophy of the team sucks. It really does. And the philosophy of the owners suck. So it hurts. It really hurts. And it'll be a very sad day when that place is completely empty. Which brings us to what happened today. Rob Manfred spoke on the relocation and everything, and I'm not surprised. I mean, Rob Manfred works for the MLB owners, and he said dumb shit in the past. Of what was this quote about the Astros with their championship? It was just a big old paperweight and whatever he said.
It's just a big piece of metal.
Yeah, exactly. So this is his reaction when he was asked about the fans of Oakland during this whole thing with relocating to Vegas.
And I'll just say too, it's not what he says, it's how he says it.
And
Yeah.
I hear from him. I feel sorry for the fans in Oakland. I do not like this outcome. I understand why they feel the way they do. I think that the real question is, what is it that Oakland was prepared to do? There is no Oakland offer. Okay. I mean, they never got to the point where they had a plan to build a stadium at any site. And it's not just John Fisher. You don't build a stadium based on the club activity alone. The community has to provide support. And, at some point you come to the realization it's just not going to happen.
Steven, your thoughts?
Well, so it's fiction.
Yes.
Number one, like they did have a site. They had just as much proposed as they did with Vegas, and the city of Oakland did everything they could to try to make it work. It's just the A's wanted to build a $1 billion stadium along with $11 extra billion in improvements around the entire area of the Howard Terminal site where the Oakland ports are in whatever else. Perfect for a ballpark. But man, it wasn't going to work. And it's not the city of Oakland's fault that when, they tried getting these grants, and, the one specific that I'm thinking of is the mega grant, where basically the United States set up the Department of Transportation set up a program where they could help fund infrastructure improvements around the country. And they didn't feel like the A's were worth the investment, but it's way too much money. They shouldn't have needed that. And now they're going to build 9 acres instead of 55. I think the A's responded with that, or at least the spokesperson for the Oakland mayor responded with that to a bunch of outlets, basically saying that's what they did.
Yeah.
And then I gotta replay this last part one more time. I'm just gonna replay the back half of this.
Now, do we have to hear from this guy again? Well, come on then. Are you playing it?
Okay, so I was, yeah.
Oh,
just
just for you?
Oh shoot, was I not playing it on? Whoops, my bad. I just had it in my. That's the only problem with using that. Look at that face. Look at. Mm-hmm. Look at his eyebrows up. All right, let's get back to it. I'll actually play the sound here.
Okay.
I mean, they never got to the point where they had a plan to build a stadium at any site. And it's not just John Fisher. You don't build a stadium based on the club activity alone. The community has to provide support. And, at some point you come to the realization it's just not going to happen.
Like, and the other thing I have, the other problem I have with that too is okay, whatever. It's not just John Fisher talking about building a new stadium, but it is up to John Fisher to get the stadium renovations done. He was the one that took the lease a decade ago and basically said, hey, we're the ones that hold this thing now. Raiders, you guys are going to be our little brother in this. We are going to be the ones who make the renovations. But they didn't do anything. And that is on the owner, John Fisher. And look no further than his Earthquakes team. They're actually having a pretty good season right now. I think they're like 1 or 2 games over 500, which is actually really good for your Earthquakes, who were the worst team in the league last year. But they don't spend on that team either. It's the same thing in San Jose. They just have this. I mean, I don't want to say, this fancy new stadium because, like, that has a negative connotation to it because it's a fantastic stadium. I love PayPal Park. Anyone that has a chance should go there. But he does not spend money on the team. And it's common occurrence across both of them. This guy's just caping for John Fisher, man. It's frustrating.
And not only that, he added this too that there's not audio of, but when asked about the reverse boycott the other day, this is what Rob Manfred had to say. I mean, it was great. It is great to see what is this year's almost an average Major League Baseball crowd in a facility for one night. That's a great thing. Yeah, that's his passive-aggressive way of being like, well, that was nice. I mean, if the A's fans showed up all the time, then maybe their team would stay.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit. It really is. And I'll say this about the Raiders too and the A's. They expect way too much from the city of Oakland. It's not their fault. A lot of stadiums are funded by ownership these days. SoFi Stadium was built by Stan Kroenke. Now, I know those guys are more financially stable, but just, I don't know. The reality is the Raiders and A's wanted to leave. They don't want to be here anymore. They were looking for they did the Root in Oakland thing and a bunch of bullshit slogans. And at the end of the day, they don't want to be here. Manfred could say, well, Oakland never stepped up. They tried. I remember the painful little debates with councilmen a couple of years ago on ABC7 where Larry Beal was the moderator, where Dave Cavill was like, yeah. Well, I mean, those offers are great, but we're not considering that. It was all bullshit. It was all lies. They don't want to be here. Dave Cavill was brought in to do the whole food truck thing and to make us have hope that the A's are going to be cool. And in the end, it was just a ploy to get him to Vegas, and it sucks. And Rob Manfred works for the owners, so I'm not surprised by this stuff. But he's a little worm too. So yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to say. I'm not extremely knowledgeable of the all ins and outs of everything when it comes to the logistics of moving and whatnot, but it's just bullshit. And Jeff Passan, I think earlier, I'll pull up the tweet, but it's not looking good. More bad news for the A's.
Yeah, the governor signed the bill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the only hope now is that the other MLB owners vote against this.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with the Giants back in 1993 when they were trying to go to Tampa. The rest of the owners outweighed what Peter McGowan and everybody else wanted to do, and they lost the right to go to Tampa.
Right.
And I know a lot of A's fans are hoping that happens. I would say never lose hope, never give in, never surrender, the old Galaxy Quest line. But I don't know. It may just be that this is the end, and it sucks.
And Casey Pratt's out here like, by Grabthaw's hammer, you shall be avenged.
Huh? That wasn't bad.
Thank you.
Casey is a good dude. I talked to him the other day. I thanked him for everything he does. I will try to get him on the podcast. He's a busy man these days, but good dude. But yeah, man, I really don't have a lot to say. As far as me going to Oakland A's games, I will be there when it's the last series at the Coliseum. I don't know when that will be. It may be at the end of this season. It may be next season. But Tuesday night was fun. But I can't go back there at this time. It pains me to say that because everyone shits on that place. I love it. I just love that stadium. And but I have a weird feeling about being there right now. And I think A's fans have the right idea of showing that it's not their fault. So Tuesday night was fantastic, but you don't need to go back.
Right.
And I wonder, did like a parent or a father or a mother take their kid for like their first A's game and then have to explain to them the next day, like, we're not coming back here. This was just a one-time thing. Or like if they decide to go again, like, how come no one's here tonight? And have to explain the whole ins and outs of why the team sucks. Like, ugh.
I mean, if any parents can put their or can go through that, then I commend you. But yeah, back to Manfred's talk. He pulls this move, and the whole saying, "It takes one to know one." Well, he pulls this move that I pull all the time, and that's when you are getting questioned about something and you don't have all the answers, and you can't say, "Well, I don't know," but instead you look like you're kind of despondent. You look like you just want to wave off whatever question they're asking, and you're going to answer something that's not true, that's patently false, just to get yourself out of it. I do that a lot.
I've noticed.
So I know it. I know what he's doing. And you mentioned that sound. I want to play that actually because I haven't pulled up. I want to play that when he's talking about the reverse boycott.
Oh, there is sound of this. Okay.
Oh yeah, the whole presser's posted on the old YouTube. But man, like when he's answering this question, I saw it. No, yeah. He's so he just keeps on cutting into the question. Just like listen to this.
I was actually at a dinner with the owners.
Yeah.
I did. I saw.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great. It's great to see what is this year, almost an average Major League Baseball crowd in the facility. That's a great thing.
Good Lord.
Yeah, that the quote itself doesn't give justice, and also I can't read, so it probably didn't help. But
what's worse than a backhanded compliment? That is just a total jab at the fan base.
It's a shiv, really. It's a courtyard shiv. Listen, he's probably the worst commissioner in sports, and I know people shit on Roger Goodell and everything, but this guy is a sleazeball, and it seems like he doesn't even like baseball. That's the biggest criticism I hear from a lot of diehard baseball fans is this guy is not a baseball guy. And he's definitely not an Oakland A's guy. He is like every owner tries to work for, every commissioner tries to work for the owners. But that was just like, I don't know, that's a big fuck you back to the A's fans. So I didn't care for that comment at all.
No, it's just a bad look all around. And when they're like, and the worst part about that, like the whole Senate Assembly thing that we all saw, that wasn't, kind of, it didn't give everyone like some sort of glimmer of hope, like that maybe the A's would come back. But what it showed was that these guys that are at the forefront of this, Cavill and Fisher, they are not prepared for whatever it is, whatever questions they have to face. Like they just weren't, and it showed in the Senate. Like Dave Cavill couldn't give a yes or no answer. Couldn't say yes. Do you want to pay the live entertainment tax, which is a thing in Vegas for anything that holds live entertainment?
Again.
We are not complacent in that. Like, what are you talking about?
I
Just
love
say
that
yes
guy.
or no. Just say yes or no.
I love the councilman who was like, yeah, I found you to be disingenuous, which is the perfect word to describe Dave Cavill, because he is just a two-faced little.
Yeah.
Stop myself there. Yeah. I mean that whole thing, like the one congresswoman who was like, let me get this straight. You guys want this, you want that, you want this, you want that, and you expect us all to do this for you. And then, the one guy from the A's was like, well, we weren't prepared for all those questions, so we're gonna have to move on.
Well, the Ernies are mentioning here that Doñate voted the yes the day after. So, but there were, I'll say this, there were amendments to that bill, and some of these things, like what they were looking for, they were only looking for maybe one answer, and maybe they had that answer with the live entertainment tax, because clearly that's what Denyate wanted the answer about.
Yeah,
So
he
if they
did.
did, so then there you go. But like, unfortunately, the Nevada, their Senate's not going to vote on this based on how they feel about A's fans. I'm sure they do have empathy. At least some of them do, especially that one who basically asked like, why leave Oakland, and started talking about like Raleigh Fingers and Catfish Hunter and these
Yeah.
other players. I think he mentioned Vita Blue at one point. Like, so I don't that guy. I think that guy understands it, but I don't think a lot of them do truly understand how the fans feel about the team. They just look at the attendance and think, they don't really have that big of a fan base.
Yeah.
That's how people that viewed the whole reverse boycott thing, if they looked at it as, well, this team has had low attendance for years, they should sell the team, blah, blah, blah. Well, then you're not seeing the big picture here. You're not looking, or at least you're only seeing the bigger picture. You're not looking deeper into it. So yeah, I have no answer for the Senate that voted 25-15 or whatever it was. And the MLB owners, I'll tell you this, Derek, I do think it's going to go through. Supposedly it's going to be unanimous, whatever that means. But I do think it's going to go through. I don't know if every single owner, I do know what unanimous means.
I was about to say, come on, Steven, I'm the dumb one on this podcast.
I don't think that it's going to be a unanimous vote because revenue sharing is going to come into play. And like some of these teams, it's just like, what, we're going to vote on relocation when they waive the fees, and those fees are going to help us recoup some of the debt that we put ourselves in since the COVID season back in 2020. So we're going to waive that completely. That's gone. That's going to be, I don't know, probably $300 million. I think the Raiders relocation fee was like $378 or something like that. It was not far off from what the A's got in public funding. Like, they're going to do that. And then, oh, by the way, we're going to give some of the revenue, a little percentage. Now we're going to give that to the A's because they're moving to an area where they have the 40th ranked TV market in the nation. Like, some owners, I think, are going to look at that and think, I still think it's going to pass because it needs 75%. I think 75% is going to get it through. But I don't think it's going to be unanimous like it's presumed.
Do you think Larry Baer says yes?
That's a good question.
I don't know, because we had him on the day that it was announced that they bought land in Vegas. And Tom was joking with him saying, you must be popping champagne and celebrating. And Larry was like, all right, Tom, jokes aside, I did used to work for the A's, and I do respect that organization and everything. And I don't think the Giants, I don't think they fear the A's as far as popularity because they don't need to whatsoever. I think also a part of them is like, we don't want this. I'm sure there's a lot of MLB teams that feel the same way. Now, will they, put their money where their mouth is? Probably not. I don't know. It's not really Larry Baer that decides that decision. He's just the face of the team. There's a lot of owners in the organization, so I shouldn't single him out. But you wonder about the Dodgers or anybody that where the Giants would control the entire Bay Area market. I don't think they'll get enough votes. It probably will be unanimous. And I'll say this also about the A's going to Vegas. We just saw it with the Golden Knights winning the other night. They are the number one team in Vegas. It's not even close. Raiders do well globally as a franchise and as a team, but Vegas has not really accepted them, as Joe Fortenbaugh told us, as their team yet. They are just a glitzy NFL franchise that's in Vegas, but they're not Vegas's team. And I don't know how it's going to be with the A's in Vegas. I don't know if it's a baseball town. I know that was it the Aviators? Is that the minor league team there?
Yeah.
They do very well there, but I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go. And it's just kind of been a weird thing seeing the Raiders in Vegas and see those fans not really appreciate it like the Oakland's fans would. And I wonder if the same thing's going to happen with the A's.
It's exactly what's going to happen. And it's going to be even worse because
It's 162 games.
it's
It's hot as
160
it's hot as shit.
It's very hot. 9 acres, by the way, a 9-acre ballpark will not hold a retractable roof. So good luck to the A's with constructing that. And no, it won't be Vegas's team. Like the Knights were the expansion team, and then all of a sudden they went to the Stanley Cup Finals their first year there, and they kind of just made themselves just beloved around the city and kind of made them turn into a hockey town. Can the A's do that? I'm not saying it's totally impossible. Like, I'm not saying that, but it's going to be a lot harder, I think, to try and convince people in Vegas that the A's is something that I want to go do while I'm here when I'm on the Strip. I don't know. Maybe there's eventually some will grow into A's fans when they're younger, and the kids down there, over there, whatever, they're going to turn into A's fans growing up, whatever. But it's hard to see it being viable right now. So,
I'll finish this with the A's talk. One thing I want to bring up: I saw both Ernie's on Twitter on Tuesday night, kind of criticize the A's fans for throwing trash on the field, and I commented and saying, guys, just let them have this moment. And I know a lot of people have criticized that too. Worst case scenario, the groundskeepers have to pick that stuff up. It didn't hurt anybody. It was a fun celebration that night, and the fans are just fed up and they didn't know what to do. It's not like the Raiders fans throwing beer bottles at Derek Carr. I thought that was distasteful and terrible. But I thought everything that went down on Tuesday night was fantastic. So I just want to, what Stu Clary and everybody that was involved, the people that sold the T-shirts, Hal the hot dog guy, it was great. The whole night was great, and I know that I was judgmental. It's always better to be curious than judgmental before you say anything. So I know weeks past I said I really don't understand this protest and everything. I totally understand it now, so I apologize. I wanted to be a part of it. I didn't want to go to the game, but I do understand and love that everything the A's fans did. And also, Ernie in the chat here says, I'm only keeping my Bill Head bobblehead, and the rest are gone. And Ernie too says, I only have Ricky Henderson bobblehead. I would encourage A's fans, do not throw away your stuff. Keep that stuff around, wear it proudly. Remind people that the Oakland A's were here. I love it when I walk around Oakland and I see people wearing Raiders stuff, because I watched Brody Brazil the other night talk about he saw an A's kid the other day wearing a hat. In 10 years, you won't see that. And I think we need to keep that around, that these teams existed and not, forget about them. So if you have A's stuff, I want to get rid of it. You could be mad at the owners. You can hate John Fisher and Dave Kaval for what they're doing, but remind people that the Oakland A's existed here as long as you can.
It's beautiful, Derek.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful sentiment.
All right. enough of this sappy shit. The Nuggets, won the championship, and we were rooting for them. Nikola Jokic wins MVP. Jamal Murray has a big comeback from the torn ACL a year ago, kind of like a Klay Thompson year as he happened last year. The one in dominant fashion. The Heat only won that one game. I think I won. Did you say Heat in 5 too?
No, I said the Nuggets in.
Oh, sorry.
6.
Yeah, I asked. Yeah, I said Nuggets at 5. You said Nuggets at 6.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you got a little bet we got to do. Although I guess I got to do one too. But you asked me when we're at the wedding. Should my bet be that I just grow my hair out as long as I can and make it look ridiculous? That would look fucking terrible. So I'll think of a punishment for you. Maybe we shave your head.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But as far as the series, the Nuggets are by far the best team that was in the NBA this season from the start to the finish. And along the way, people were skeptical of if they actually could pull this off because of their past playoff failures. And I thought the Suns were going to beat them. You thought the Suns were going to beat them. And in the end, they were the best team because they were so reminiscent of how the Warriors were. You lose a couple times and then you get better. Like I still am not over the Warriors losing to the Lakers. I would have been okay if the Warriors made it to the Western Conference Finals and got beat by this team because they're better than them. And that's you got to admire that and respect that when the Warriors kicked their ass a year ago. Granted, they did not have Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr., but the Nuggets just got better. They didn't have to go out. They signed Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Bruce Brown, but that was it. They're not some superstar team. They're just Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, and they just got him better as time went on. So I really respect the Nuggets. I like the way they play. They remind me a lot of the 2015 Warriors, and they may grow into something. We'll see if they're the cream of the crop in the West because a lot of shit's going to go down this offseason. We'll see where the Warriors are. They definitely got to, look into their size. That's what got them beat in the Lakers series. They definitely got to address the center position. They can't just have Kevon Looney. Otherwise, Nikola Jokic is going to bang on him. Joel Embiid's going to do that. Giannis is going to do that. We saw Anthony Davis do that. So they definitely got to make some adjustments to compete with the Nuggets. But at the end of the day, I just respect the Nuggets and what they've accomplished this season.
Yeah, and it would not be possible, though, without Jokic. Like, that is the guy. Like, you could put all those guys on the same team, but without Jokic, none of it would work. He does so much for that organization. He's such a smart, intuitive player. And they got some great performances from all their guys all around. Like, actually, I was kind of disappointed in the final ceremony. I was like, why are they giving Michael Porter Jr. the mic and not to Aaron Gordon, who was also a first round pick, but has had more of a tumultuous start to his career. Obviously Michael Porter went through those injuries and everything, and he's kind of been a homegrown guy with the Nuggets, but I felt Aaron Gordon kind of deserved a time to talk in that spot. But I guess, it didn't,
I agree.
It didn't matter, but it's just, I remember thinking at the time, and I said it to Jesse, who was sitting right next to me. I was like, what the hell? Why is Aaron Gordon not talking? Because like two plays that stuck out in my mind from that, from Game 5 was the blocks from Gordon.
Yeah.
And then just this rebounding tear that he was on. It reminded me so much of Andrew Wiggins and the impact that he had. But still, again, none of it would be made possible without Jokic in just everything that he could do. His defense got better as the series went on. And then Jimmy Butler in Game 5, like down the stretch, felt like Jimmy Butler got to just threw in the towel. And that last shot was not good. That was a terrible final shot.
It kind of felt like the Heat did in general. Like they didn't foul anybody with a good, was it 10, 15 seconds left?
Right.
But, they knew. Like, the Heat had a great season, too. To go from the 8th seed, the only second 8th seed to make the NBA Finals, they have nothing to be mad about. They could get Bradley Beal. That's a rumor now that they're going to try to upgrade that position. Maybe Chris Paul, maybe Damian Lillard. But they have nothing to hang their heads about. They can hang their heads high, is what I should say. They did nothing to be discouraged about. They went from being an 8th seed to the NBA Finals, and they had a great run. But the Nuggets were that much better. And, yeah, shout out to Aaron Gordon, Bay Area guy from San Jose. Just you got to admire that team. There's something about a team that doesn't have to, go out and get a huge superstar. Nikola Jokic was able to beat Kevin Durant and LeBron James in this run, and that's pretty impressive. But would you say he's the best player in the NBA right now?
We do this after every NBA Finals with the winner. We always say that player's the best in the NBA right now, blah, blah, blah. I'd put him right there. Yeah, I'd probably put him there as the best in the NBA. But I'm not going to act like I've watched enough of every single player to dub him, he's the best in the NBA, because if I was doing it with my total, confirmation bias, I'd say Steph Curry's the best player in the NBA because I'm watching this dude night in, night out. Yeah. But Nikola Jokic, I think you'd have to give it to him right now because he dominated his way through these playoffs, being the first player in NBA history to lead in points, rebounds, and assists. That's something for a center. And I think he has to at least be. I think he's very deserving if that's what he's being dubbed as right now.
I would definitely say top 5 or top 3. He's just so unique. He's a unique player as far as his passing ability, being a big, uh, being a great 3-point shooter, his rebound ability, the way he plays. It looks so awkward. He looks like just like a lumbering oaf. But he just does it with so much grace too. It's just something I never seen before. But I mean, he should get his due. He's won 2, regular season MVPs, and he got his first final MVP. I think he's the 11th player to do that in NBA history. So give him his dues. He's a fantastic player, and this team is going to be something to deal with for quite some time. We'll see what happens in the Western Conference. But would you put your money on the Nuggets being the team to beat in the West going forward?
Yeah, I'll put my money on them because they're not going to change going into next year. And you know what? Health was a big thing too.
Yeah.
By my count, they were mostly healthy going into this finals here because Tyler Hero remained on the bench through these finals. And you know what? Just to make a quick point, like Tyler Hero is always compared to with Jordan Poole because they have pretty much the same contract and they play the same position and the same place in the roster. They're both like 6 men on their respective rosters. But at least, Jordan Poole, for all his pitfalls and every way that he frustrated the Warriors this past season, at least he was durable. At least he could play every single game and just was available.
He was durable.
And I know that Tyler Hero didn't force his injury, and it's not like, he pulled a hamstring on his own. And I know it was forced, but still, like, it means something to be available at all times. And I think the Nuggets prove that.
Yeah, I mean, and to Ernie's point here, he's asking, is the West wide open next season? It depends what happens. I think the Warriors could be there with the Nuggets, but right now, if you ask me, it's the Nuggets, and then it's the Suns, and then it's kind of wide open after that. The Warriors got to address a lot of things, Draymond Green and what they do with Jonathan Kuminga. There's a weird report in a mock NBA draft saying that they're going to trade Kuminga. I'm not so sure about that yet. Anthony Slater slightly says that Jordan Poole is going to stay with the team. We'll see what happens here. We're a week away from the draft. Then in a couple weeks we got free agency starting. I'm assuming we're going to hear something about possibly Mike Dunleavy Jr. becoming the general manager, but we'll wait for that official news. But the Nuggets are great. I do think that we'll see what happens this offseason, but I wouldn't say that it's just, they're an overwhelming favorite.
No, I don't think there is an overwhelming favorite in the West going into next year. I think you just got to give it to the Nuggets just based on what's happened recently.
And I mean, and also, the Suns were a 4 seed, and then they got Kevin Durant, and then it was like, well, they're the favorites now to win the West. There's going to be a crazy trade or a crazy acquisition that makes everybody say, well, the Nuggets were good, but now this changes things. So we'll see what happens. The parade today was fantastic. I loved every minute of it, seeing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope pull a Stone Cold Steve Austin, chugging 2 beers at the same time. Michael Malone. I thought that this dude was like, kind of like a Bill Belichick type, like all about basketball, no funny business. And then he was feeling himself today. Like,
oh yeah,
he got drunk. He was. Let's play this clip. Because right after they won the championship too, he was pulling a Pat Riley, being like, "Oh, we're coming back. Me and Nikola next year. We're doing this for years to come." I love it. I love that he never calls him Jokic. He's like, "Oh, Nikola. I love Nikola."
Yeah.
This is it. Look. He's looked like a gangster today. Just wearing his hat and his shades and his chain, and he was definitely feeling himself today. They asked him about Bruce Brown coming back for next season.
No. Hey, we running this shit back.
He's such a he looks like the type of like just with his body structure, kind of a thin guy, but wearing like
Yeah.
a baggy t-shirt with the hat, the glasses, the chain. He looks like all these guys at like a Warrior game that I see that
Yeah.
that hate all of these new fans that just arrived to this Chase Center who weren't there for the days at Oracle. Where were you? Because he looked exactly like this one dude I remember at Oracle who was just yelling defense from the first quarter immediately and just throughout the game was not shutting up, and that's what Oracle meant. He reminded me exactly of that guy. It's unbelievable. It's
Let's be real.
unreal. Yeah.
He looks like one of the Hoop Troop guys. Remember that from back in the day?
Yeah. 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 Him along with that the one with the long brown hair and the beard and the goatee and all that. I
The
remember that guy.
Zachariah of the group.
Yes. Yes.
Now, every time I see Mike Malone wearing the hat, I always have to like, who is that? Oh yeah, that's Mike Malone.
Yeah.
Because he looks so weird with a hat on, but yeah, he looks like an old like tough guy whenever he puts like the glasses on and the hat on. And there was another clip of him earlier in the day where he was like, "Oh yeah, we're some greedy bastards out here, man. We're trying to go for another championship. We're some greedy bastards, and I'm out." It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, geez, like this is different than the Mike Malone we see in the press conferences.
Well, yeah, but I mean, this is what he's doing. He's finally gets to let loose, man. It's like all this stress. It was really cool seeing him react early on. This was like before they even got on the floats and got to all these speeches and everything. But he really started to get emotional just talking about how much it hit him, like what they accomplished, and just the fact that, he didn't really process the magnitude of what they just did for the city of Denver. Like bringing an NBA title, like bringing a title for anything in any sport in any town for the first time, like that feeling, there's only a handful, as we can see, there's only a handful of people that can say they did that.
Yeah.
There's something special to it. Bringing that first championship to the city, you saw that back in 2017 with Philadelphia. Am I wrong on that?
2017.
Was that their first one?
Who? Philadelphia.
Yeah. Wasn't that the Eagles' first one?
Oh yeah.
Okay, thank God.
You're
All
talking
right.
about football. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I was dead wrong on that. But like that moment where Jason Kelsey's making the speech
Oh
to
my
the
God.
Philadelphia fans.
Looking like the Sultan from Aladdin.
Yes.
Some
Yes.
idiot named Michael Lombardi.
Yes. Yes. Like it's moments like that, man, that just it's something that I can't fathom. It's got to be crazy being a part of that. It's so much that it switched up Nikola Jokic's whole tune on parades.
Oh, okay. So I should have got that audio, but have you ever seen a superstar be so lackadaisical where it's just like, yeah, we won, and then he like pops the champagne in the locker room. He's like, whatever. And they ask him, hey Nikola, so you excited for the parade? What day is parade?
Yeah.
Thursday. Ugh, I need to go home.
Yeah.
The PR guy's like, you could go home on Friday. It's okay. And then today, which audio do you want to play? You want to play him in the locker room or him?
Let's just play him at the
Okay,
championship.
fast forward. He didn't want to be on the parade. He changed his tune today.
You know that I told that I don't want to stay on parade, but I fucking want to stay on parade. This is amazing. This is we're all gonna remember this our whole lives, and when we see you guys that came out on the streets, and actually this one is for you. We love you, Denver. This one is for you. Thank you, guys.
Like I don't even think Jokic realizes the impact that he's had on
Yeah, I know.
that city.
When initially it was like a parade, we gotta do all that shit, and then you experience and you're like, this is actually pretty fun. But I wouldn't be the least bit surprised, like just watching Nikola Jokic, his demeanor and everything. Like this is a job for him. Like he balls out in basketball. He wants to win. It's not any like whatever. I just want to get my money. But this is a job for him. He plays in America and then he goes to Serbia in the offseason. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets one more max contract, plays another 6 years, and he's out. Like he'll make his mark on this league, but he doesn't seem like an NBA lifer to me. And I'm not saying that as like a negative thing, but like this is just a job to him.
No, he's just gonna ride off into the sunset on his horses in Serbia.
Yeah, and his horses. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
horses to take care of. I do not want any part of this parade.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, think about Darko Milicic. I know he's complete opposite
Yeah.
because he was a total bust. But you'll see some of these guys still around the NBA in some capacity, even though they may not have been that good. But Milicic, he just went back to Serbia and became a farmer. Like, it's how these guys grow up, man. Like, some of
Yeah.
these guys just have this attachment to home. I almost felt like bad for Jokic when I saw that in the presser when he says, "Oh my God, I just want to go home." Like, this guy clearly misses his family, and seeing the relationship he has like with his brothers. I know his brothers are the Jokic bros, and they'll fight anybody that messes with their little bro. Like, I know that, but like, they have this specific kind of relationship where he probably has that across his whole family. He just wants to head back to Serbia, man.
Yeah, no, Michael Malone getting tossed by those guys was hilarious too.
Yeah,
It looks like
he looks tiny.
Well, yeah, but it also looks like Michael Malone wearing the hat and the chain could be like the leader of the Nikola Jokic brother gang.
Yeah,
Or just like, yeah, me and Nikola and his brothers went out in the town. We had some pops. We fucked some people up, and hey, that's what we do out here. We're greedy bastards.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson, you don't want any of this shit, man. All right. All right.
Hey, you guys bet on the ponies today? You want to know these numbers on the ponies? I got a guy. Who knows about these ponies. I'll tell you about the Belmont Stakes.
Hey, I'm the Warriors. I'm the Lakers' daddy now. All right. You guys are doing too fucking much.
Oh, that was a great line by who was that? Who made that? Who made that? Who was the one playing the Bob Fitzgerald role at the parade?
Vic Lombardi.
Vic Lombardi. That's right. Yes.
He kind of sounded George Shea like from Nathan Hot Dogs Eating Contest. This man, he was a son of a coach, and now he is the Lakers' daddy.
Hopefully, he's not as slimy as that guy.
George Shea's a little slimy, I will admit, but I mean, nothing's better than the Nathan Hot Dogs Eating Contest when he introduces everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
Yeah.
On that note, everybody, we promised we do a shorter podcast, and we succeeded this time. We'll be back on Saturday to talk a little more football, Steven. Okay, bear with me here.
What are we going to talk about with football?
Well, here's the deal. I mean, we got this whole Stephon Diggs drama. Good God. What's going on with that?
Fascinating. A wide receiver and his team are at odds. Wow.
Not to go in a whole thing about that, but that whole story was bullshit. Just to go from Sean McDermott being like, I'm very concerned. And the next day he's like, well, I gave Stephon Diggs the day off. And then him and Josh Allen, we'll talk about it briefly next podcast, but it was stupid. The whole thing was stupid. Like, it's incredibly stupid. But Dalvin Cook's out there. DeAndre Hopkins was meeting with some teams. We'll talk about this stuff. I want to talk more about where players will end up because we got more news, not so much NFL stuff, but NBA. Damian Lillard could find a new team. Chris Paul will find a new team probably. Bradley Beal. So we'll play like a little crystal ball game and see where guys are going to go. Is that cool? Because like Steven, to be completely honest, like we have two big name NFL players that are free agents this time of year, and that rarely happens.
Does it? It feels like it happens all the time.
Not in June.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to the months.
If this was March, they would already got in deals. They would got a big fucking. We want to go to Arnold now?
No, not going to it. They just reminded me. No Arnold voice tweets. We will get to the football on Saturday, but we must have a recap because Arnold Schwarzenegger's back talking Trump indictment, his new TV series, and his new mission to save the world for real this time. Who's talking to Chris Wallace Friday at 10 p.m. on CNN and stream on Max?
Did I tell you that I tried to watch the Arnold documentary on Netflix?
How'd it go?
It's not good.
Hmm.
It's just him, like, my parents, they didn't love me, but who cares? I had to be strong.
Isn't that what Pumping Iron's about anyway?
I guess. I never seen it.
Pumping Iron is the gold standard. You haven't seen Pumping Iron?
I know of it, but I've never seen it. No.
You've never seen that part where he's just sitting there talking about, when I get the flex, it's like coming. So every time I get the flex, it's like I'm coming day and night.
I have not seen that.
Dude, it's so funny. I got to send you the clip. Oh my God. You've never seen that. Unreal. Anyway.
All right.
God.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some football. We'll talk about a lot of things next podcast. We'll be back on Saturday. Before we go, I want to read this quote from Tom Hanks, who's a diehard Bay Area sports fan, was an Oakland fan, grew up going to the A's games, grew up going to Raiders games. They asked his opinion on everything, and he said, "We lost the Raiders, the Warriors moved to San Francisco, and now they're going to take the A's out of Oakland. Damn them all to hell." I'm with you, Tom Hanks. Great quote.
When's the last time you went to an A's game, Tom?
He was working the concession stands.
That's
When's
fine.
When's the last time he went to an A's game? The season of 2020. He was out there. It was fake.
That's true.
It was a billboard, but he was there.
Yeah. That's true. All right. Well,
Hey.
right.
Leave
What?
Tom Hanks alone. He didn't do anything. Nice guy.
just saying. I'm just saying. What, Tom? When's the last time you've been to an A's game, huh? I haven't seen Tom in the Bay Area since he got all famous and all.
Yeah, that Tom Hanks is a real big head now.
I love Tom Hanks. I love Saving Mr. Banks. I love Captain Phillips. I love Forrest Gump. I love Castaway. I love A League of Their Own. All right, that's it. That's all I got.
That thing you do?
I love That Thing You Do. I love
He's hardly in it, actually.
I love Sleepless in Seattle. Just watched that the other day with Jesse. Saw it for the first time. Loved it.
Loved it.
Love Big. Joe versus the Volcano with the weird
Never seen it. Never
orange
seen it.
soda can necklaces on the inhabitants. It's a very odd movie.
Underrated one, The Burbs.
Never seen The Burbs.
Oh, dude, The Burbs is a great movie.
Mm.
Great movie.
All right. I got
And, I'll be completely honest. My favorite rom-com, You've Got Mail. Tom Hanks.
I haven't seen it.
Best friends with Dave Chappelle. Not going to believe it, but I will in that movie.
Now it's best friends with Tom Hanks. All right.
And on that note, to everybody that came out to the A's reverse boycott, great job. Fuck Dave Cavill. Fuck John Fisher.
Wow.
Long live the Oakland A's. And on that note, Steven, say what you always say.
It's just our opinion, man. Tom Hanks.